It's hard for me to talk about Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 because I don't really have the words to. I don't know specifically what I like about it, so it's hard for me to break it down for anyone, honestly. I just know that I loved the second season. It was so much an experience for me that I'm struggling to even make this video, so I'll just say what I'm thinking. Mob Psycho 100, the first season, was a very humbling show. With themes like learning not to put yourself above others and living your life the way that you want to, it laid the perfect foundation for Mob's character growth in Season 2. And we got it, honestly. We don't get into the meat of Mob's arc for a few episodes, and while there are seeds being planted that hint at Mob's eventual independence and free thinking, we're greeted with some beautiful animation and genuinely comedic moments between Mob, Reigen, and the psych characters. Like the episode where Reigen and the other psychics are overpowered by an urban legend, which feeds off the fear of everyone who believes in it, making it impossible to beat. But because Mob is so detached from pop culture, he doesn't even know who the creature is, thus he can't be afraid of it. Yet we find out that the one thing Mob is afraid of is the legend of the running grandma. It's a lot of scenes like this early on that are honestly very wholesome and reminiscent of the first season. But we quickly learn that this isn't the first season as we see Mob's first outward disagreement with Reigen. Reigen wants Mob to exercise the ghost not because it's bad or because it's actually doing anything, but because his mere presence is freaking out his customers. Reigen can't see or talk to ghosts, so he has no way of understanding the supernatural world, but Mob can. And he knows that these people have done nothing wrong, and he hesitantly asks Reigen to leave them be. This is the first step in Mob's growth, from the timid child from season 1 who couldn't control his emotions and relied on his master for everything, to a person that is starting to understand that his master isn't perfect and won't always make the best decisions. And seeing that divide physically on his face as he first starts to think for himself is the best part of this episode. Deep down this doesn't feel right, but can he actually disobey his master? Mob ultimately doesn't exercise his spirits, and this leads into the next arc with our main villain Masashi, a powerful psychic who after the death of his mother turned into an evil vengeful spirit who now possesses a rich man's daughter. After a failed exorcism, Mob enters the girl's mind to physically remove Masashi but is overpowered. Masashi thinks that Mob isn't so different from him, the only difference being that Mob had better people to surround himself with, and through mentally torturing him from years and years, he hopes to bring him over to his side. That him and Masashi are ultimately just the same, and without those people that Mob cherishes deeply, that he could have turned out just like him. And Mob's response to this isn't to say that, oh, you know, I'm just a good-natured guy who could never do anything wrong, as many shows might do. You know, the perfect good guy hero. Mob actually agrees that maybe his life could have been different had he been miserable all the time, and if he didn't have anyone he actually cared about to guide him, which I actually appreciate, because I don't think people are inherently good or evil. Sure, we all have our own morals and personality. Acknowledging that so much of our growth can be from our environment can help set you on a better path. Finding the people who can encourage you to do better, who can help you see through your problems. Without any of that, you could possibly turn out like Masashi, who was genuinely a good-natured man until his mother died over medicine he couldn't afford. We get a magical girl Mob mom, which factually is best girl, and on top of that, an amazingly animated fight between Mob and Masashi, which is breathtaking. Beautiful, honestly. While I've been enjoying the show so far, the next arc between Mob and Reigen hit me in ways that no show has in a long time. All the build-up from the beginning of the show, all the doubts in Mob's mind and the transgressions and mistreatment from Reigen finally boiled up to the point where Mob had enough. He was tired of being taken advantage of. He was tired of being dragged away from his new friends, which he spent the first season making. He's finally starting to have the social life that Reigen helped him get the confidence to build, but can't actually experience any of it because of Reigen himself. And this creates a big enough divide that Mob starts to distance himself from him. You know, the kid from season 1 who believed any nonsense Reigen came up with, who listened to any lessons he threw up to cover up some lie, has finally decided to think and live for himself. That this is his life. We follow Reigen as he slumps into a deep depression, realizing that he actually doesn't have any friends and can't do much psychic work without Mob. And honestly, this is where I thought he would come back to Mob and apologize, but surprisingly he didn't. He picks himself back up and tries to make a life for himself again. You know, all of this backfires because, you know, con men are going to be con men. But what proceeds is my favorite part of the show. When Reigen is finally forced to acknowledge that Mob has grown since the timid kid he once knew. But not only that, but acknowledging that Mob was his entire inspiration for continuing the psychic business. Mob made his life so much more exciting and was driven away due to his own mistreatment. And by acknowledging how he feels, Mob responds in kind by getting him out of the situation, stating that he had always known who his master was. And as Reigen scrunches his face up as he prepares for some ugly truth about his own character, Mob says that the thing that he always knew about his master. that he was genuinely a good guy. And I just... Reigen has been such an integral part of his mob's growth, teaching him how to use his powers, encouraging him to get in the body improvement club, being the only person that Mob could talk to about his problems. You can't just throw that away over one argument. And sure, we all have our ups or downs, sometimes we're misguided and we forget how much people actually mean to us. And through being honest about how we feel, we can start to mend and even strengthen our relationships. The results of this putting Mob and Reigen on equal footing. Reigen is no longer the objective moral compass of what Mob should and shouldn't do, and Mob isn't the little kid anymore who walked into Reigen's life years ago and deserves more respect and consideration. The build up to this moment was done so beautifully and honestly warms my heart. Watching the development that Mob has gone through from season 1 into a more confident and independent person who doesn't have to be so dependent on others, who can keep pushing himself to be better instead of just relying on his psychic powers, because he's not just a psychic, he has many other flaws and weaknesses that will stop him from maturing if he doesn't work on them. And I don't know what to say, honestly. Watching his character arc over these 2 seasons have been the most wholesome experience I've felt in such a long time. And not just Mob's, but Reigen's realization of his treatment towards Mob, and how instead of wallowing and being depressed about everything, he put in a real effort to rebuild his life and applies the many skills he's developed over the years. And I deeply admire that. I think everyone should watch Mob Psycho 100, and I try to recommend the show to as many people as I can, because I think this is a must-watch show for just about anyone. From the amazing opening and endings to the phenomenal soundtrack to the jaw-dropping animation. I just love everything about this series. And even if you can't learn anything from the show, like the message that what makes you unique doesn't necessarily make you better than everyone, because everyone has something unique about them. Everything has something that they take pride in, but over centralizing yourself around that one skill will lead to your downfall, will lead to your stagnation, or the message that to keep inspiring and trying to improve yourself no matter how hard it may seem. And if you can surround yourself with people who are actually better yourself, then your life can improve. And if none of that means anything to you, I still think this is an amazing show, okay? So please watch Mob Psycho 100.